Dr. Crusher.
Hello and welcome back to Star Trek Sodium. This week we have some fantastic facts all about Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3, Episode 4, Who Watches the Watchers? This episode would of course be remade later as the start of Star Trek 9, Star Trek Insurrection. It's so good it got the movie remake treatment. In this soapy episode from Season 3, the Enterprise happens upon a race of early Vulcans who are yet to develop much in the way of technology, and trouble ensues when they accidentally discover the snoopers from the Nosy Federation.
One time, you did not know how to weave cloth, how to make a bow.
That would be reasonable.
It was at the time of the production of Who Watches the Watchers that Lever Burton had noticed that he was getting constantly recognised in public, even without having his metal eye mask on that surely went some way as to hide his identity from the screen. Asking his cousin Tim for advice, Tim simply advised him that being a director is the best thing to do, as you don't get recognised in public as a director as you do for being an actor. The idea struck a nerve with Lever, who approached the production staff and asked ever so nicely if he could branch out into directing episodes, and they were happy to oblige. And so from that point on, Lever Burton would begin directing episodes here and there across the Star Trek shows in the hope that would somehow reduce the occurrences of his being recognised in public. He would direct episodes of Star Trek Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, but unfortunately he would not direct any episodes from the original series. The actor Ray Wise plays the popular character Liko in this episode, a character that would transcend the episode and enter the halls of Star Trek legend over the years. So Ray Wise is in this episode, but he was actually filming this at the same time as filming episodes of Twin Peaks at the same time, and in some other studio or other. The problem was that the actor was getting confused between the distinctly different roles, as he had never acted in two shows at the same time before. Instead of being the stoic and steadfast Liko in some scenes, he would have his role contaminated by his Twin Peaks characterization of Leyland Palmer, who was constantly emotional and confused, like a Thursday pencil case. As a registered worker from the UK, Marina Citrus was a victim of Great Britain's strict payroll and tax laws. To counter the UK government's taking 68% of her pay in tax, she insisted to Paramount that she be paid a year in arrears. She would be paid for Season 2 during Season 3, and be paid for Season 3 during Season 4, and so on. Somehow these simple adaptations reversed the taxation and made her possibly receive an extra 68% in payroll tax instead of losing it to the government. And to this day, actors from the UK working in Hollywood use this technique. It's now known as the Citrus Maneuver. The idea for the episode of Who Watches the Watchers had surely evolved over time from its humble beginnings. Rick Berman had noticed the popularity of the 1989 film License to Kill, the most recently released James Bond movie. Rick insisted that the writers of The Next Generation somehow create a crossover between Star Trek and 007 James Bond. Their attempts to organise this took years of corporate and legal wrangling that yield not only no eventual crossover at all, but tied up Eon Productions in red tape that unfortunately Timothy Dalton's third James Bond movie was cancelled, and there was to be no more James Bond produced until GoldenEye in 1995, and it was all because of Rick Berman. This Hensing episode features Bronze Age Vulcans, known as the Mintarkans. But the key difference between the Mintarkans and the Vulcans is that the Mintarkans are seemingly too stupid to have their emotions reined in, and too damn stupid to rely on logic. Maybe given a few centuries, they would clean up their act and become a people that Sarek Vulcan himself would be proud of. No expense was spared in making the Mintarkans smell like mint, and somehow at the time the producers forgot to realise that smells didn't make it to broadcast television. $300,000 was wasted in applying fresh mint scents to the actors and their clothes, including stitching in mint leaves into the very costumes that the actors wore, and even using expensive mint hemp for the actual stitching of the fabrics. There had been a cheeky bet between close friends, Rick Berman and Michael Piller, two of the producers of Star Trek, prior to the production of this episode. The loser would have their bank account number used as the star date at the start of the episode. Unfortunately, Rick Berman lost the friendly wager and disclosed his bank number to the scriptwriter for Captain Picard to announce at the start of the episode, in the star date format. The actual wager had been kept under wraps, but according to Will Wheaton, it was reportedly regarding whether Gates McSomething would complain about the coffee this week, as she supposedly was never happy with the marvellous drink. Rumour has it that the coffee was actually one of the reasons that she had originally left back in Season 1, which was the first season. Producer Mannequin Jacko Silvermard clashed with Gene Roddenberry over the direction of the episode to such a degree that he threw up his hands in desperation and quit his lucrative Star Trek job. He had lobbied for the people of the planet to differ more from Vulcans to a wider extent. His idea for the Mintarkans was for them to be a horizontal race, for them to spend their time lying on the ground instead of standing up like most races that we're used to in our very good Star Trek future. Gene Roddenberry argued passively that a race wouldn't be able to achieve much at all if they were lying down on the ground all the time in the horizontal position. But Mannequin Jacko Silvermard stood firm, saying that if he didn't get his way, he was going to throw in the towel. He was going to take the long walk, and unfortunately, that's what he did. He threw in a towel, and that is a sports analogy. Now on to the comment of the week. Thesaurus V5178 says this entire video is total bullshit and narrated by bad AI. Dolph Lundgren got $1 million for one episode of a TV show, and there's no record of Anne Haney getting an eye injury, let alone by whatever the hell this thing says caused it. And they fixed it with a stick. Picard's bony finger. Crusher in the Olympics. Lol, this whole thing is absurd. Well, I'm afraid I hope to not be the bringer of bad news to you, sir, but these facts are absolutely true. Unfortunately, I have completely forgotten where I found out this information, but as far as I know, this information is 100% possibly correct. So thank you for your very good comment. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to. Please don't forget to leave a comment underneath. I'd like that a lot, because I like to hear what people have to say, especially about Star Trek, because it's one of my favourite shows. Thanks very much. Ta-ta!